Tuesday evening. The City of Sylvester Municipal Court has jurisdiction over traffic violations, city ordinances, misdemeanors, and some aggravated misdemeanors. The maximum sentence this court can impose is a fine of $1,000 or 12 months in jail. As with any other court in the state of Georgia or in the United States, you have certain constitutional rights, and you have those rights here in the City of Sylvester Municipal Court. I'm going to go over those rights now, and as each one of you resolve your cases, I'm going to refer back to the rights. That way I don't have to go over them with each individual and save you a lot of time. You have the right to be presumed innocent. The burden of proof is on the City of Sylvester to prove that you did in fact commit the alleged offense, and the city has to meet that burden of proof beyond a reasonable doubt, which is a high standard of proof. You have the right to testify on your own behalf, and if you choose not to testify, that cannot be held against you. You also have the right to confront any witnesses that the City of Sylvester might use to testify against you. You have the right to an attorney. This is arraignment. So if you plead not guilty and you want the assistance of counsel, and you qualify for that assistance, an attorney will be appointed to you. In some cases, you have the right to a jury trial. The City of Sylvester Municipal Court does not hold jury trials, and so therefore, if you plead not guilty and you ask for a jury trial, your case will be transferred to the Worth County State Court. The other option you have, if you want to plead not guilty, is a bench trial, and if you plead not guilty and you want a trial on the issues, you can have a bench trial by coming back to the City of Sylvester Municipal Court and having your case heard before a single judge. There are 3 pleas available to you. I know you've already spoken. Most of you have spoken to the solicitor. Plea of guilty, which means that you're admitting to the offense. Plea of not guilty, in which case we'll either have that bench trial that I was telling you about or a jury trial, and also the plea of no contest or no low contundra. That's not a guilty plea. That simply means that you do not wish to contest the charges against you. Sometimes that gives you some legal benefits, such as points not going on your license or your license not being suspended for a first offense. You can only use that once every 5 years in certain categories of crimes, and it's at the pleasure of the court whether or not the court accepts that plea. All right. You know what I picked? Steve Clausen.
Stand in front of the microphone right there so we can hear you, please.
Mr. Clausen, is that how you pronounce your name?
Yes.
Okay, and you can hear me clearly, right?
Yes.
And you've spoken to the solicitor?
Yes.
And you've agreed to plead guilty to improper decal and no proof of insurance?
Yes.
All right. I'm gonna get you to raise your right hand for me if you can. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give in this matter will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Okay. I'm gonna ask you some questions. I need you to answer them out loud for me, yes or no, okay?
Okay.
And I have to ask these questions to make sure that your plea is voluntary.
Okay.
Are you not under the influence of drugs or alcohol?
No.
You suffer from any mental defect that stops you from understanding these proceedings?
No.
You understand that the maximum sentence this court can impose is a fine of $1,000 or 12 months in jail?
Yes.
Anybody promise you anything or force you to plead guilty to these reduced charges?
No.
You understand that by pleading guilty, you waive all those rights I just mentioned?
Yes.
And are you a United States citizen?
Yes.
Okay. I'm gonna find your plea is voluntarily entered, and that you understand the nature and the consequences of your plea.
Yes.
Now, is there anything you'd like to tell the court before I impose sentence?
No, sir, I was wrong.
Okay. Do you work?
I'm a farmer. Got a 6-acre farm down here. I'll put everything.
Okay, 60
No, 6 acres.
or 6? Okay.
Yeah, I couldn't handle 6.
All right, well, I'm going to accept the solicitor's recommendation, On the, and I take it that you corrected these. You got insurance and you got your tag, okay. On the, driving with suspended tag,
Yes. That's all my fault, sir.
sure. Proper decal, well, suspended tag, reduce the, improper decal.
Okay.
I'm gonna send you to a fine amount of $300. And on the insurance, which has been reduced to, no insurance on person, a fine amount of $200. Okay, so that means that your total fine would be $500.
I don't have that kind of money.
Okay, what's your monthly income?
I get, disability $1,700.
1,700.
Yeah,
Is that-
1,730.
Is that a month?
Yes.
Okay. What I'm gonna do is, I'm gonna place you on 12 months probation. It's gonna be a pay-only probation.
Yes.
But I'm gonna allow probation to terminate upon payment of the fine.
Yes.
So you got $500, you got 12 months to pay it.
Yes.
And as soon as you pay it, then you're off probation, okay?
Where I have to go to do all
I'm gonna, probation is right over here, the young lady right here, she's gonna get, well, I think you're gonna send her to the back, and she's gonna give you all the instructions that you need,
that?
okay? Okay. Okay. Jarvis Thomas, Jarvis, you've had the opportunity to speak to the solicitor, and you're gonna plead guilty to 49 and a 35. You're gonna attend driving school, is that correct? Okay. Have I seen you before? Okay. All right. Raise your right hand for me. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give in this matter be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so you got? Okay. You gotta speak up for me and say yes or no, okay, so that the camera can catch you. Are you not under the influence of drugs or alcohol? You suffer from any mental defect that stops you from understanding these proceedings? You understand that the maximum sentence this court can impose is a fine of $1,000 or 12 months in jail. Anybody promise you anything or force you to enter into that agreement with the solicitor? You understand that by pleading, you waive the rights that I mentioned in the beginning of court? And are you a U.S. citizen? Okay. Jarvis, I'm gonna find your plea to be voluntarily entered, that you understand the nature and the consequences of your plea. Now, is there anything you'd like to tell the court before I impose sentence? How old are you, Jarvis? 19. You graduated from high school? Okay. You work? Which one? Albany State. What's your major? Business? You're a freshman? Sophomore? Okay. All right. Well, the deal that the solicitor cut with you, will keep points from going on your license. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna sentence you to a fine amount of $175, and I'm gonna order you to complete that defensive driving course. You'll submit the, certificate of completion back to the court. Just a minute. And I'm gonna give you until May 10th to do that, okay? So what you'll do is you'll receive a reset notice or a summons to come back to court on May 10th. If you paid the $175 and entered the, certificate of completion, then you don't have to come back to court on that date. If If you haven't done both of those things, you need to come back to court on that date, okay? Shabrika Moat. Is this like going up there? That road?
He's playing bingo.
Nah, man. Ms. Moat, you spoken to the solicitor, correct? First of all, pronounce your name for me. Moat, so I pronounced it correctly? Okay. And you're gonna plead guilty to 2 fast for conditions. Is that your understanding? Okay, you gotta speak up for me. Okay. Raise your right hand for me. Take your hands out your pocket. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give in this matter will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Okay. I'm gonna ask you the same questions that you just heard. You put your hand down. You just answer for me yes or no, okay? Are you not under the influence of drugs or alcohol? Do you suffer from any mental defect that stops you from understanding these proceedings? You understand that the maximum sentence this court can impose is a fine of $1,000 for 12 months in jail? Anybody promise you anything or force you to plead guilty? You understand that by pleading guilty to this reduced charge, you waive the rights that I mentioned in the beginning of court. And are you a U.S. citizen? Ms. Moat, I'm gonna find your plea is voluntarily entered and that you understand the nature and the consequences of your plea. Now, is there anything you'd like to tell the court before I impose sentence? Now, how old are you, Ms. Moat? How old are you? 26? You work? Okay. How long have you been back? Now, the final amount is $195. The reason I ask those type questions is not really to get into your business, but to see, kind of like a glimpse of your life circumstances so I can make sure that I don't put a financial hardship on you. And the fine is $195. Can you pay that tonight? Can you pay it by May 10th? Are you sure? Okay. You pay that by May 10th, you get a summons to come back to court on May 10th. If you don't pay it by May 10th, then you have to come back to court, and at that time, the judge may place you on probation or may allow the fine to be converted to community service. Okay. You can go right over there and they'll give you David Manis. I can't hear you. Nicholas. Nicholas Dave Manis. Okay. I apologize. You were charged with driving while license suspended. The solicitor worked out an agreement with you where you're going to plead guilty to no license on person with 60 days to get your license. Is that correct? Mr. Solicitor, did you have any recommendations on this case? We spoke to a lot of people tonight.
Yes, Your Honor. He's can get his license back. I think he says if you got child support, you just hang it up. He thinks he can do it within 60 days. So it's no license on person for 60 days to reinstate. As long as he comes back and brings proof that he can go into the license.
What's your final recommendations left up to the court out?
It is. I mean, it's up to the board. I typically don't make a recommendation.
Okay, all right.
That's how you
I
want
just
to
want to make sure. All right, Mr. Manis, raise your right hand for me. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give in this matter will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Okay. Are you not under the influence of drugs or alcohol? You suffer from any mental defect that stops you from understanding these proceedings? You understand the maximum sentence this court can impose is a fine of $1,000, 12 months in jail? Anybody promise you anything or force you to enter a plea to this charge? You understand that by entering a plea, you waive the rights that I mentioned in the beginning of court? And are you a U.S. citizen? Are you a U.S. citizen?
Yes.
Okay. I'm gonna find your plea is voluntarily entered and that you understand the nature and consequences of your plea. Now, is there anything you'd like to tell the court before I impose sentence? All right. I'm gonna accept the solicitor's recommendation. By entering a lesser charge, that means that when you get your license back, they won't be suspended again. Because if suspended license charge went in, you get them back, this charge would go in and they'll just get them resuspended. So the solicitor did you a service by reducing the charge. I'm gonna send you to a fine amount of $500. And can you pay that tonight? Okay. You work? Oh, did you take off the come? Or you just took the whole night off? Okay. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna place you on probation. It'll be a 12-month probation, but I'll let probation terminate upon payment of the fine. So you'll be able to make payments, but if you get the money and you want to pay it and get off probation, you can just pay it. I did not. I'm gonna reschedule you. I guess you can. Yeah. What is this one? This one. I'm gonna give you a notice to come back to court on June 14th. But I think what I want to do is, if you bring a copy or some type of certification to the court, a picture of your license or something stating that you got your license, I'll waive that court appearance. So if you work at night, you don't have to take off another night to come back to court. Okay. There'll be other terms and conditions to the probation. Probation officer will let you know there, and you're free to go once you see them.
What's the background?
Raymond Smith. Mr. Smith, you were initially charged with failure to report an accident and striking a fixed object, but you've spoken to the solicitor and he has recommended that the court dismiss the failure to report accident, and you're going to plead guilty to failure to maintain lane. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Raise your right hand for me. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give in this matter will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Okay. I'm going to ask you these questions. Answer for me out loud, yes or no. Are you not under the influence of drugs or alcohol?
No, sir.
You suffer from any mental defect that stops you from understanding these proceedings?
No, sir.
You understand that the maximum sentence this court can impose is a fine of $1,000 to 12 months in jail?
Yes, sir.
Anybody promise you anything or force you to enter a plea to this reduced charge? You understand that by pleading, you waive the rights that I mentioned in the beginning of court?
Yes.
And are you a U.S. citizen?
What?
Are you a U.S. citizen? Are you aware of your immigration status?
I'm American.
Okay, all right. The only reason I have to ask that is because if there is something that can trigger some type of immigration thing, I just need to know before I sentence you. I'm going to take the solicitor's recommendation. Is there anything you'd like to tell the court before I impose sentence?
We have tried, we called the city of Sylvester. The pole does not belong to the city.
It's on 82, which is state highway. I called this morning, the Tipton, they do not have a distance for the poles to be at behind the curb. So they're really close to the edge of the curb. And it belongs to AT&T. We called them 4 times, no response. So we're waiting on them to get a hold of us or get a hold of our insurance to pay for the pole.
Okay. Well, I appreciate you taking responsibility and doing due diligence. Is that what the piece of paper in your hand is for?
Yeah, the paperwork's AT&T and the pole belongs to, and we call, it belongs to AT&T. They called a guy named Jim Dean, D-E-A-N, and he was supposed to forward it to the claims department. So that was, I don't know when she contacted me, but we contacted our insurance agent. We already had our mirrors replaced, our awning replaced, and now we're getting ready to put it in top of the windshield and my trailer to put it in for the trailer repair.
Yeah, based on facts of the case, I made a recommendation on those charges. I think I dismissed one or reduced another.
Yeah, I took your recommendation. I'm just having a conversation with, Mrs. Smith.
I think he was waiting on his insurance company to.
Yeah, I'm confused a little bit. You hit a pole
Right.
and you're talking to me about awnings and trailers.
The pole apparently
RV.
came up and scraped our side of our RV.
Oh, okay.
Well, it's all.
Okay, I was thinking car and then,
No, we're
you know,
in an
okay,
RV.
all right, gotcha. All right, I'm gonna accept the solicitor's recommendation. I'm gonna dismiss the, failure to report an accident. And, since you are taking the necessary actions to fix the pole, I'm gonna reduce the fine on the strike and fix object to, $230. You have that tonight?
Yes.
Okay. Upon payment of that fine, your case is resolved. Okay. Nice to meet you, Mr. Smith.
Nice to meet you.
Davian Green. Mr. Green, you're charged with failure to yield when entering a crossway. You're gonna plead no contest. Is that correct? Raise your right hand for me. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give in this matter will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Are you not under the influence of drugs or alcohol? You suffer from any mental defect that stops you from understanding these proceedings? You understand everything that's going on right now? You understand the maximum sentence this court can impose is a fine of $1,000 or 12 months in jail? Anybody promise you anything or force you to plead nolo? You understand that by pleading nolo, you waive all the rights that I mentioned in the beginning of the court? You know, you're a U.S. citizen. Okay. I'm gonna find your plea is voluntarily entered, that you understand the nature and the consequences of your plea. Now, Mr. Green, is there anything you'd like to tell the court before I impose sentence? Now, go ahead.
I wouldn't able to speak, but I had not in court, so
You have an accident? Pictures.
and I almost slipped my behind the business, but, so I was not gonna have time, so I think it's just a minute before you close, you have to be there tomorrow.
Okay. How old are you?
I'm 29.
29? Okay.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Sylvester, is he still
He's still
gone? I can ask my trustee clerk. I'm of the understanding that it looks like you've used the no-low plea in the last 5 years.
That's what I did. I do it like this person.
Well, it was longer than that, it was 2019, but it's, you can use one once every 5 years.
All right.
So on this case, I'm forced to have to take a guilty plea.
Okay.
Okay. The final amount is not gonna change, but you lose kind of the benefit of the no-low plea. And I wouldn't want, because even if I took the no-low plea tonight, when it got to DDS, they would see the other no-low plea and they wouldn't take it in the system.
Yes, sir.
The final amount is 195. Did anybody get hurt in the accident?
No, sir.
And you said that you have to wait until tomorrow to get the money?
Yes, sir. Because I let the bank close. So
Okay.
I already said I don't have a bank close.
I'm gonna give you, well, pay it tomorrow, but you'll get a summons to come back to court on the 25th of April. And if you pay it tomorrow, you don't have to come back to court on the 25th of April.
Okay.
Okay?
Yes, sir.
All right, you can step right over there and they'll give you. Robin Glarner. Is it Glarner?
Yes.
You were charged with failure to maintain lane. You spoken to the solicitor and you're gonna plead guilty to 2 passport conditions. That's your understanding? Raise your right hand for me. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give in this matter will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so you got?
Yes,
Okay. I'm gonna ask you these questions. You already know all the answers, but let me ask them anyway. Don't take away my job. Are you now under the influence of drugs or alcohol? You suffer from any mental defect that stops you from understanding these proceedings.
yes,
You understand that the maximum sentence this court can impose is a fine of $1,000 or 12 months in jail?
yes,
Anybody promise you anything or force you to plead guilty to this reduced charge of 2 passport conditions?
yes,
You understand that by pleading guilty, you waive the rights that I mentioned in the beginning of court?
yes,
And are you a U.S. citizen?
yes,
I'm gonna find your plea is voluntarily entered, and that you understand the nature and the consequences of your plea. Now, is there anything you'd like to tell the court before I impose sentence? Are you employed, Ms. Garner?
I'm
The fine amount is $195. Do you have that tonight?
this is my first offense, I didn't know it was cash. I'm able to pay, but I don't have the cash.
Okay. Are you local?
No, sir, well,
What I'll do is, I'll give you a court date to come back on April 25th. That'll give you the opportunity. I mean, you can come back tomorrow. How far is Clifton from here? About
Omega through the woods,
25 miles. I mean, that'll give you time to mail it in if you don't want to make a trip.
Okay.
But if you just want to make a trip, I'm sure they'll accommodate you. So if you pay it before that date, you don't have to come back.
Great.
Okay. They'll give you the summons right over there.
Yeah, she got a card, you can't call
A card?
her. Yeah, credit card.
Oh, you got a credit card?
I do it with debit.
She can take it around.
Oh, okay.
Oh, you don't have to, you can spend $55 per stamp. I'm 55 cents.
55. Inflation ain't that bad now.
Almost. I just said that.
I appreciate it. Keep me awake.
Tanisha Bishop. It's Tanisha. It is. You were charged with driving on a suspended tag and no insurance. You've spoken to the solicitor, and you're going to plead guilty to improper decal and no proof of insurance.
Yes,
Okay. Raise your right hand for me. You swear or affirm that the testimony about to give in this matter be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
yes,
Okay. I'm gonna ask you some questions. Answer them for me out loud, yes or no, okay? Are you now under the influence of drugs or alcohol?
no,
You can put your hand down. You suffer from any mental defect that stops you from understanding these proceedings?
no,
You understand that the maximum sentence this court can impose is a fine of $1,000 or 12 months in jail. Anybody promise you anything or force you to enter into this plea agreement? You understand that by pleading, you waive all the rights that I mentioned in the beginning of the court. And are you a U.S. citizen?
yes,
I'm gonna find your plea is voluntarily entered, and that you understand the nature and the consequences of your plea. Um, is there anything you'd like to tell the court before I impose sentence?
yes, I wouldn't miss people, I didn't know, because I had transferred my insurance over, and I didn't know that, it had canceled, it started at, it was supposed to start on the 18th, and I had canceled it, I had canceled it, I didn't know that was gonna start on cancel, I thought it was gonna start on the 18th.
So there was a lapse in your insurance,
Yeah,
and the lapse triggered the tag, right?
it was supposed to be transferred over to another insurance.
Okay,
So I don't know how it works.
but you fixed everything.
Yeah, I fixed it the next day, because I didn't know.
Are you employed?
Okay.
All right, I'm going to accept the solicitor's recommendation on the driving on suspended tag. I'm gonna reduce it to improper decal. With a fine amount of $300. And on the no insurance, I'm gonna reduce it to no insurance on person. With a fine amount of $240. So that's a total fine of $540. You have that today? What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna place you on 12 months probation. I'm gonna allow probation to terminate upon payment of the fine, which means that you have 12 months to pay the $500, but if you pay it before then, probation will terminate. Mhm.
Is it initial
Improper decal and no proof of insurance. Those reductions don't affect your record, they don't affect your driver's license. Okay? No, the probation, this type of probation does not show up on your record. It's simply kind of like a, I guess, credit that gives you time to pay. So this is a probation for payment of a fine, not a probation for a criminal type probation where you have to do drug screens or report or those kind of things. I don't know, they may make you report, but most times. But, well, unfortunately, we don't do partial payments, and so it's kind of like an all or nothing type thing on the night of court. But I mean, if you come back tomorrow with the rest, I mean, you're off probation. All right, Ms. Bishop. No, you have to. They're gonna see you in the back. Quindasha Ponder. Ms. Ponder, you're charged with speeding. And you spoke to the solicitor, and he has agreed to reduce your speed to 49 and a 35. Is that you understand? Okay, raise your right hand for me. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony about to give in this matter will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Have you got? Okay. I'm gonna ask you some questions. You answer for me out loud, yes or no, okay? Are you not under the influence of drugs or alcohol?
No.
You suffer from any mental defect that stops you from understanding these proceedings?
No.
You understand that the maximum sentence this court can impose is a fine of $1,000 or 12 months in jail? Anybody promise you anything or force you to plead guilty to this reduced charge?
No.
You understand that by pleading guilty, you waive all the rights that I mentioned in the beginning of the court? And are you a U.S. citizen? Okay. All right, Ms. Ponder, is there anything you'd like to tell the court before I post?
Well, I guess it was really make a difference, but I was in the process of moving that day, and we were actually behind schedule, so I was just trying to just.
Well, in law, they, when the court asks you that, they call it like mitigating circumstances, where you can tell the court what happened, so the court can make a decision as to whether or not the fine is reduced or the seriousness of the punishment. However, in your case, well, I mean, the question that you have to ask yourself is, would the speeding have changed anything or that kind of thing? But the fine is 175. I mean, and the reduction means that you won't get points on your license. So your punishment is only monetarily. How old are you? 20? Are you in school? Okay. Which school?
I know the system was
Okay. What's your major? Do you carry $175 on you? Not right now. When can you have that paid? Okay, I'm gonna give you until May 10th, okay? You pay that by May 10th, you get a court date to come back on May 10th. And if you don't pay it, you have to come back on May 10th, okay? If you don't come back on May 10th and you don't pay it, then license can get suspended, warrants can be issued for your arrest, all kind of bad stuff can happen. You don't want to do that for $175. Okay, all right. They'll give you a summons. Mhm. Susie Elam. Ms. Elam, you were charged with speeding and you made a deal with the solicitor also, correct?
Yes, sir.
He's gonna reduce your speed to 49 and a 35.
Yes, sir.
Raise your right hand for me. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give in this matter will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so you got?
Yes, sir.
I'm gonna ask you some questions, answer for me out loud, yes or no. Are you now under the influence of drugs or alcohol?
That's correct. That's correct. But are you not?
Are you not?
Are you not?
Yeah.
No.
Are you now under the influence of
Now, or
drugs?
am I not?
Are you now under the influence of drugs or alcohol?
I am not.
Okay,
No,
you-
I'm not.
gotcha. Do you suffer from any mental defect that stops you from understanding these proceedings? You understand that the maximum sentence this court can impose is a fine of $1,000 or 12 months in jail? Anybody promise you anything or force you to plead guilty to this reduced charge? You understand that by pleading guilty, you waive the rights that I mentioned in the beginning of court? And are you a U.S. citizen?
Yes, sir.
I'm gonna find your plea is voluntarily entered and that you understand the nature and the consequences of your plea. Is there anything you'd like to tell the court before I impose sentence?
Yes, sir.
The final amount, Ms. Elam, is $274. Do you have that tonight?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Upon payment of that final amount, your case is resolved. And as I mentioned to Ms. Ponder previously, the speed reduction means that points will not be assessed to your license.
Yes, sir.
Brandon Poole. How you doing, Mr. Poole?
Doing pretty good.
Mr. Poole, you're charged with driving while license suspended. And you've spoken to the solicitor, and he's gonna reduce the charge to no license on person and give you 60 days to prove that you do have a license, correct? Raise your right hand for me. You swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give in this matter will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so you got.
Yes.
Are you now under the influence? Let me get it right. So, are you now under the influence of drugs or alcohol?
No.
You suffer from any mental defect that stops you from understanding these proceedings?
No.
You can put your hand down. You understand that the maximum sentence this court can impose is a fine of $1,000 or 12 months in jail?
Yes.
Anybody promise you anything or force you to plead to this reduced charge?
No.
You understand that by pleading to this reduced charge, you waive the rights that I mentioned in the beginning of court?
Yes.
And are you a U.S. citizen?
Yes.
Okay. I'm gonna find your plea is voluntarily entered and that you understand the nature and the consequences of your plea. Now, is there anything you'd like to tell the court before I impose sentence on Brandon?
No.
Still on the wrong page. Why, you know why your license is suspended?
Yes, sir. I had a speeding ticket for the county, and I didn't go. It's an FTA. And then on the way home, when I brake light was out, I pulled over. That's when they told me my license was suspended for the FTA.
But you knew that you hadn't gone back, right?
Yes.
Okay. But a solicitor cut your brake. I mean, that means that, so you have to go and fix it now.
Yes.
So it's not fixed. You have to go and fix it and come back. Okay.
Yes. And he said 60 days, right?
Yeah, 60 days. So that's gonna be June the 14th. By June 14th, you'll come back. But here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna sentence you to a fine amount of $500, and I'm gonna give you a court date to come back on June the 14th. If you show proof that you've gotten your license before that court date, you don't have to come back.
Okay.
Okay?
And where I show proof to bring it here?
Yeah, you can bring it up to the court
Okay.
or the police department. Do you have $500 on you now? Okay. Then I'll place you on 12 months probation. You can take the bring the license to the probation officer, or however you want to do it when you're making your payments. You can bring them a copy of your license. They'll make a copy. Okay. It'll be other terms and conditions to your probation. Probation officer will let you know what they are. You're free to go once you see them.
Okay, thank you.
Thomas Cross. So let him sit down.
He's coming back from the side. He was a real bad wreck about 15 years ago. Actually, longer than that, about 25 years ago. So,
That's why he had to get a hip replacement. I beat you that time. No, I'm on the
I'm here.
You want to sit down?
Yes, sir, I'm fine.
Okay. All right. Well, you talked to Mr. Crow, and you made a deal with him that you're going to plead guilty to 2 fast food conditions, correct?
Yes, sir.
All right. Raise your right hand for me. You swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give in this matter will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so you got?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I'm asking you some questions. You answer them out loud, yes or no, okay?
Yes, sir.
And you were outside, so you don't know what I'm about to ask you, do you?
I'm heard.
Okay. Are you now under the influence of drugs or alcohol? You suffer from any mental defect that stops you from understanding these proceedings? You understand that the maximum sentence this court can impose is a fine of $1,000 or 12 months in jail?
Yes, sir.
Anybody promise you anything or force you to plead guilty?
Yes, sir.
You understand that by pleading guilty, you waive the rights that I mentioned in the beginning of court.
Yes, sir.
And are you a U.S. citizen?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Thomas, I'm gonna find your plea to be voluntarily entered, that you understand the nature and the consequences of your plea. Is there anything you'd like to tell the court before I impose sentence?
I'm on disability and $190 for too fast for conditions, or it was $190 for running the stop sign. Which I mean, I wouldn't go over 5 miles an hour, it's my neighborhood anyway. And I seen the cop and I waved at him, because I have respect for all police officers and, military. I have respect, so I will wave and thank them but because I made myself known to him, I believe that's why he stopped me and gave me a ticket for, not stop completely at stop sign, which I wasn't ever going over 5 miles an hour anyway. And both ways you can see, tremendously down the road, so there was no cars coming, nothing. I wasn't speeding, I just felt, I don't have $190 right now. But I'm like, that guy said he got $1,700 a month. Mine's like $750.
Okay, okay.
So, I mean, I try to pay rent, truck payment, insurance, I don't have very much money, so.
All right, well, given your circumstances, and given the fact that, I'm looking at your record and it seems like you have not had an altercation with law enforcement, I'm gonna reduce your fine to $100. Do you have that?
Yes, sir, I have it on the third, paid all third.
On the 3rd of May?
Money is something.
Okay, they'll give you a court date to come back on the 10th, but you pay it on the 3rd, you don't have to come back on the 10th. Okay,
I think you greatly,
okay, and I understand, but you might have done a rolling stop. I don't know if they still calling that, but
I didn't stop, it wasn't stop sign, I understand completely, I did wrong in that sense, I mean, I'm not trying to legalize that, if it was a stop sign, I didn't stop, but
no, I understand. That's why you have your day in court, so you can tell the judge your circumstance. But they'll give it to you over there, and as long as you pay it by the 3rd, you good.
all right, thank you, sir.
Asia Collins. How you doing, Asia? All right. You were charged with no insurance and driving with a suspended tag. You've worked out a deal with the solicitor where you're going to plead guilty to no proof of insurance and improper decal, correct? Raise your right hand for me. You swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give in this matter will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so you got? Okay. I'm going to ask you some questions. You answer for me out loud, yes or no, okay? Are you now under the influence of drugs or alcohol? You suffer from any mental defect that stops you from understanding these proceedings? You understand that the maximum sentence this court can impose is a fine of $1,000 or 12 months in jail? Anybody promise you anything or force you to enter a plea on these charges? You understand that by pleading, you waive the rights that I mentioned in the beginning of court? And are you a U.S. citizen? And are you mad because you second to the last? Okay. Is there anything you'd like to tell the court before I impose sentence? Okay.
I'm on the insurance with my mother, and I did not know that they did not pay it. And for my registration, my birthday is in February, my car was in the shop, so I did not.
Whose car are you in?
Mine.
You in your car?
Yes. I
And
had like a week before they stopped me.
so on your birthday, your car was in the shop.
Mhm.
So you
No, I
didn't
did not
get
get
there.
mine.
Okay, I got you. Then your car got out of the shop, you started driving it.
I want to drive it to school. I go to school.
Where you go to school?
I want to
Okay. What's your major?
nursing. I'm graduating.
Okay, congratulations. Well, since you're gonna be a nurse, you won't have any problem paying now. All right, I'm gonna take the solicitor's recommendation on the insurance. I'm gonna reduce it to no proof of insurance.
I got it in my name on that Monday.
So now the insurance is in your name?
Yes.
I didn't add, how old did you say you were?
27.
You 27?
Yes.
I'm gonna reduce it to $240 for the no proof of insurance, and I'm gonna reduce it to $300 for the improper tag. That's $540. Okay. Did you know what the original fines were? You didn't? The original fines were $480 and $600. Um, but the solicitor saw it fit to work with you. You corrected the situation. Um, I know you probably don't have $540 tonight, right?
No, and, my car is still in the pound, so I'm trying to get out too.
Oh, okay, so did you go to jail?
No.
Oh. I'm gonna send you to 12 months probation. I allow probation to terminate upon payment of that fine. Which that means you can stretch it out for a year. Huh?
It won't mess up like my boards or anything, right?
No,
Okay.
no. I mean, even if you kept the original, well, let's just say this won't mess up your boards.
Okay.
I know when you take license and exams, you have to give them your life history. But it won't mess it up. It'll be other terms and conditions to your probation. Probation officer will let you know what they are, and you're free to go once you see them, okay? You know how much it is to get your car to impound?
Stopped it because they charge like $40 a day, and I told them in school I don't work and stuff, so she, stopped it at $13.80 something.
1,380 something?
And, I took her 1,000 before I came, and I just gave me time to get the other three.
You live with your parents?
No, I just moved back home.
Call them and ask them to give you the 380. Get your car,
Yeah.
okay? All right. Miss White. And Miss White, you can pronounce your first name for me. Shamaya, okay. You're charged with improper backing and also leaving the scene of an accident. You spoke to the solicitor and he's gonna let you plead, he's requesting that the court allow you to plead to too fast for conditions and improper backing. Is that your understanding? Instead of leaving the scene of an accident, you're gonna plead guilty to too fast for conditions. A no-lo to too fast for conditions. You might well plead guilty, but I'll accept the no-lo plea. And so you got two charges. So you're gonna plead to too fast for conditions and improper backing. Okay, now you talked to Mr. Crow, right?
Yeah.
And when you left him, he thought y'all had a deal, right? Do y'all still have a deal? Yeah. Okay, raise your right hand for me. You swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give in this matter will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so be God? Okay. I'm gonna ask you some questions. Answer for me out loud, yes or no. Are you now under the influence of drugs or alcohol? You suffer from any mental defect that stops you from understanding what's going on right now? You understand that the maximum sentence this court can impose is fine $1,000 or 12 months in jail? Yes? Okay. Anybody promise you anything or force you to plead no-lo to these charges? You understand that by pleading no-lo, you waive the rights that I mentioned in the beginning of the court? I mean, you don't have a right to an attorney, you don't have a right to a trial. When we finish today, this is over. You understand that? Okay. You know, you're a U.S. citizen. You born in the United States?
Yes, sir.
I'm gonna find your plea is voluntarily entered, and that you understand the nature and the consequences of your plea. Now, is there anything you'd like to tell the court before I impose sentence?
About the improper backing.
Yeah, you can.
I was dropping somebody off in the area that night, and they was fighting carrying on, and I was parked in a parking spot, and the girl that I met until she was on the side of the road. And so they went fighting, they went spraying mace, and I had my woman down in the car, I was sitting in the car. So I went back up, that's why I just ran back into the girl, but I didn't see her. She wasn't in the parking spot, she was on the side of the road. So that, yeah, I backed into her, but, and that's why I love, because I hadn't got maced.
Oh, you got me?
Well, it was coming in my car, it had been maced, but I had my woman down, and I was choking, so I'm backing out real fast, trying to get away. And the girl that I backed into, I was parked like this, she was on the side of the road, so when I went to turn, I hit her.
Did you, well,
But then I talked to the girl when I left, the girl, inboxed me on Facebook, and she said, well, everything's all right, because you didn't damage my car, so I said, okay. And I
That might be the reason why the solicitor, reduced the charge. He didn't charge you with leaving the scene of the accident, which would have had some serious consequences to your license. All right. You work? Where you work?
I work at the performance hall.
Okay. All right, Ms. White, on the too fast for conditions, this is the improper back and first, that's 195. And on the, leaving the scene of the accident, that's being reduced to too fast for conditions, a fine amount of $250. I'm bad with math, just bear with me. You gotta take it. 250 and 195. 345. That's the total fine for everything, okay? Now, do you have that today? I don't know your pay schedule. I don't want to put a financial hardship on you, but give me 1 second. It's 445. Who said 345?
Math.
All right. I'm gonna send you to 12 months probation. The probation will terminate upon payment of the fine. There'll be other terms and conditions to the probation, and the probation officer will let you know where they are, and you're free to go once you talk to them. So your license are in good shape, and all you have to do is just, be careful. Even if you may, be a little careful. Okay, all right. Thank you for your patience tonight.